This is a Let's Talk Church Safety and Security microsode with your host, Paul Buckner.
Hey sheepdogs, so hope you had a good Christmas. I am going to talk to you a little bit about a kind of fraud that's on the uptick. A lot of people are used to email fraud, they're used to getting phone fraud, different things like that. Maybe they've gotten a pop-up on their computer that's really an advertisement, is let's call it what it is, and it covers the whole screen, and if folks don't know how to hit Control-Alt-Delete and bring up the task manager and close it, and then they end up calling a company that's really not a company, that's just people trying to defraud you, or they end up letting somebody remote into their computer, things like that. They get a kind of phone call that does the same thing. They've gotten the fake Publishers Clearinghouse call. But what's happening now with the rise of voice recognition is something that we innately trust. I hear the voice of my friend on the other end of the phone, my mom, my sister, whatever, that I've trusted my whole life, or I've trusted this friend for 5 or 10 years. I would fight for them to the death. I would give my life for them. That kind of a situation where we need to be stopping and thinking and listening to what we're being told, because now, believe it or not, with the advent of these, it's artificial intelligence. Everybody's so freaked out about that right now, but it's not Skynet coming to kill us, but it's smarter software that can listen to and mimic the voices of a regular person. And it's happening now where people are getting phone calls and someone's voice has been recorded off of social media, and they're taking that voice and using it to call you. They know that you're tied together. Tying cell phone numbers to social media accounts has been going on for a long time, and it's only becoming more commonplace with the day. So what's happening is you'll get a phone call and you'll think it's from your mom or your uncle or whatever, and they're like, I broke down the side of the road and my phone is dead. I'm using the tow truck driver's phone number. I can't use my Venmo. I can't use my Cash App and my Apple Pay. I really, really need you to pay them by card over the phone. And what you're doing is you're paying a scammer. You're paying somebody who's defrauding you, but it sounds just like your mom or whatever. And maybe the phraseology isn't words that they would use, but they are, which I think that's only going to get better. It's a thing. It's here and it's happening. And so developing passphrases that you use with family, to where you're like, if I ever call you and I need your help, I will say perfect Newman. And you will know that, you'll know it's me because I'll say this. But I want to put a different spin on it, because I think this is going to happen, where you're going to have people that are on social media tied to a mega church, and it's going to get to the point it's going to be smaller churches, and they're going to get a call from their pastor because how many hundred sermons with the pastor's voice are online. And it's going to say, hey folks, it's Pastor Bill. I just wanted to let you know there's a family in the church that has a special need. You can click here to pay, and it's this message that you get that looks like it's from the church. And it's like, the average person's given about $50. You can click here to pay, and we're actually trying to help this family. They lost their home in a fire. And we're gonna get to the point that you won't be able to trust what you hear. It's here, it's happening, but it's gonna happen on bigger levels. You're gonna see fraud on much bigger levels, and we're gonna have to vet things in ways that we've never had to vet things, because now you've got software that can deep fake and mimic someone's face, which is getting better by the day. But you've also got software now that can mimic a person's voice. And it used to be you had to record the person talking, and then you splice together the dialogue, and you could actually hear it if you knew what to listen for. It's not there anymore. That's gone. And you can literally make people, if you're on social media, you've probably seen Arnold Schwarzenegger singing a pop song, like a Taylor Swift song or a Britney Spears song. You've probably seen some of these things already where people are having fun with it. It's down to the point that you can download apps that will do it for next to nothing or for free. But being able to defraud people at that level is a scary situation. Now imagine you get a call, and this is where you need some kind of a passphrase. You need to start thinking about this, where, especially with bigger churches, where all of a sudden you get a phone call and it's this is Pastor Bill. We need to go into lockdown right now. We have had a credible threat against the church. See where I'm going with this? Or we need to get all of the kids out the south exit now. Or you go to do a lockdown, and then there's a call that comes in that sounds like it's from the security team leader. I mean, I'm being silly, but I'm not. Like, we need to have some type of a passphrase that's known within our churches. Eventually, it'll have to propagate that far, but we're going to need something that's known by our families, because the advent of the arrival of AI fueled fraud phone calls is here, and it's here to stay. So, it used to be that people would call and say, this is so-and-so with General Electric, and you just believed them. And, people had to learn that not everybody who calls has your best interest at heart. And then going back a couple of steps, imagine somebody is able to fake a call. And this has been something that's been out there in the hacking world for a long time, where they can mimic someone's voice and they can call and say, hey, this is Paul with IT. Can you have somebody meet me at the south entrance to let me in? Or I'm going to be sending someone there today. And it sounds just like the boss. And to do a walkthrough, you're going to have to circle back and call that number again. And, they can spoof a phone number and make it look just like your mom's number or the pastor's number, the church office phone. I'm not trying to terrify a person, but as innocent as doves and as shrewd as vipers, we need to be thinking about these things. Because if somebody wants to be let in a side door and get into a church that's otherwise secure, get into your school, into your church school, whatever that environment, that secure environment is that they want to get into, they can literally mimic the voice of someone that you would otherwise trust implicitly. If I was in my home and I heard my pastor's voice, who was one of my best friends for 21 years, my pastor for 25, he wasn't, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. I was at that church for 25 years, but he was my best friend and pastor, arguably for about 21 of those years. But anyway, if I had heard his voice on the other side of the door saying, Buckner, it's Dave, let me in, I would open the door. But what I'm saying is, we need to start thinking about these things more critically, because it's going to be on us before we realize it. Is the ability to call someone and say, hey, meet me at the south entrance and let me in. And we could literally be letting in a thief, like a push-in robber. We could be literally letting in an active shooter, somebody that wants to plant a bomb or otherwise harm a child. And, this is where having our cameras inside of our building can become important, because if you just have an audio system where somebody presses a button like they're about to order at McDonald's, and you're like, First Presbyterian, and you're like, hey, this is Pastor John, I forgot my key, can you buzz me in? Somebody can fake that now. It's something to think about, having those cameras, having that extra level of authentication. And again, I know it sounds silly, and I'm not trying to say the sky is falling. Don't hear that in what I'm saying. But we are firmly in the era of spoofed voices, where people are faking, creating these fake voices and able to make them say whatever they want to be able to get access to bank accounts, to get access to cash, to get access to a secure facility. Someone can call and pretend to be somebody else and find out what our kids' schedules are at school. Like, this is going to be something that we're going to see more of. And I'd rather a person be ahead of things. I don't post a lot, but when I do, it's one of those things where I want to post something meaningful that makes a person think. So do a little bit of research on AI fraud calls and listen to that, and kind of just let your imagination wrap around it and see where it might take you. It's time to start having these conversations. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May his face shine upon you. Keep a weather eye. God bless.
If you enjoyed this microsode, check out the video and audio versions of the Let's Talk Church Safety and Security podcast.